Alright, so this is the coding walkthrough video for Prototype 1.1. Now, as you probably remember from the video for Prototype 1.0, it was very buggy. We had the new orbital transport mechanics and various other bits, but they didn't really work very well and they were very glitchy. Prototype 1.1, this one, was essentially a massive bug fixing and improvements and smoothing update, essentially. So now I can finally demonstrate the orbital mechanic in all its glory, the transporting one, and I can also show you this. Leo. So this is the main character for Starbeast. Now, in the previous prototype, he was just a cube, a placeholder cube, but now that we've got the 3D model for the lion, Leo, I thought we could put him into the game. And as you can also see, it's buggy, but he does adapt to inclines. Whereas before, the cube would just kind of move about and not rotate. This character does actually adapt to inclines. So that over there, yeah, as you can see, it's a bit buggy. That over there is our NPC. More on that in Prototype 1.2. But yeah. Ooh, I think our little enemy's stuck over there. But so now I'll just demonstrate the transporting mechanic. Oh, yeah. It's a bit buggy, this. Oh, come on. There we go. So as you can see, smoothly transitions over to that. And then if we glide around orbit again and catch it, there we go. And up we go. So as you can see, it works a lot better and is a lot smoother now, the transport mechanic. Now, yeah, one of the bigger focuses of next week, other than the dialogue system for the NPC over there, is going to be fixing this. Because he's alright when he's down on the ground, but when he's up in the air, he's flipping around all over the place. And it has a bit of an impact on... Stop doing that. I'm trying to go over there. Yeah, it has a bit of an impact on flight and orbiting. Yeah. So it works quite well. Ooh. Yeah. It works quite well, as you can see, for just maneuvering about on terrain for the most part. But in the air, it's a bit of an issue. Yeah, in the air it's a bit of an issue, so that and the NPC system for... where is it? For that guy over there. That'll be the main thing for Prototype 1.2. But anyway, for now, I'm just going to show you what code has been changed for 1.1. For that, we'll need to go here, first of all. So, to achieve the movement for Leo on the inclines, the rotation, what I did was unlocked him on the x-axis and added a little bit of code, that's the orbit system, and a little bit of code here that basically freezes him on the z-axis. Because one problem we were having before, when we were playing, if I demonstrate here, was that he would go down the hill, and if you turned, he would start rotating, kind of in that kind of motion, on the z-axis, even if we had him frozen here, as we still do. So we had to kind of double freeze him in order to get him to stop doing that. The cause for that is unknown. I don't really know why it was happening. It baffled the team and I for about a day. But we eventually fixed it by adding this code here. So yeah, it's... all it really is currently is just unlocking him on the x-axis to allow him to move up and down according to the incline and and how that works. So it will probably be more complicated in future because, as you saw, it was a bit buggy. But yeah. So then we move on to the Orbital System 2 changes. Now, a fair amount more changes have been made to this. Because as you remember last week, here, if you wanted to transport this way, sometimes he would go back that way into the hill for some bizarre reason. So to combat this, what we did was we put the orbital platforms on their own layer mask entitled Orbital Platform. And we added that, if I can find it. Yeah, we added that to the layer mask here, Orbital Platform. So now the... and at the raycast, I should say. So now the raycast looks for only things on that particular layer mask. So we're not being attracted by imaginary things down here. It's just seeing the 4 orbital platforms on the layer mask. So that fixed that particular bug. And what we also did was added this. So if you're closer than 40 units, then orbiting is true. You are in fact orbiting the whatever platform you're orbiting around, because it goes for each one of those. And then if you are further than 100 units away, then it disables orbiting, so you cannot do the transport system. Yeah, a lot more booleans and things like that were added to this update to essentially check for those kind of things. And we also added current destination as a game object, I believe. What that does is it stores the current target as the current destination. So when you're going, so if we get this off of maximize so I can see what I'm doing, go down here. Alright, so if we go over here, see current target is orbital platform 3. Come on, there we go. And see current destination is then orbital platform 1. Now as you saw, well, you might have seen it. If you saw there, basically, the current destination changed to none a couple seconds before we arrived. Now that we coded in... Where is it? Yeah, here. So, basically, if you are less than 40 units from your current destination, then disable transporting. And what that does is basically stops Leo from overshooting. Because if you remember in Prototype 1.0, he was overshooting and flying off to God knows where, and going past the orbital platforms. This stops that, so it basically means that when you get close to your destination, it stops. You stop transporting, so it's a lot smoother now, essentially. And what else did we change? Oh yeah, so we added lights to the top of the platforms. So as you can see, when you look at them, it lights up. So, because Leo's shooting a raycast at them, and only when he's looking at them can you transport. But I found it was sometimes difficult to see if you were directly looking at it or not, because you were essentially spamming the G key until you transported. So to combat that, I added lights, which are on the orbital platforms here. And what that basically means is when you look at it, it lights up to let you know that you're looking at it and you can transport. And that's what I've got there. So if current target is not equal to null, i.e. if it's a orbital platform, because that's all they can see on the layer mask, then the lights are true, they're enabled. And if the current target is nothing, which will be true if you're not looking at anything or any orbital platform, then the lights are false. Pretty simple, but it adds a really, really nice feature that helps a lot when you're transporting. And yeah, that is pretty much all that's been coded in this week. It's quite complicated, especially with the orbital platform changes. It was mainly just a way to combat bug fixing, especially the current destination thing. Ooh, come on. There you go, bang. So as you can see, stops right before there. And if you're paying attention to the bottom right, you'll see current destination changes to none just there because he stops. Yeah, it makes for all these coding changes to the orbital platform essentially make for a smoother experience when it comes to transporting and using the orbital platforms, which is what we want really. So yeah, Prototype 1.1, there it is. Prototype 1.1, bug fixing, improvements, smoothing. That's pretty much the gist of it. Next week, Prototype 1.2 is going to be smoothing out that moving system, the changing on the x-axis to account for hills. Need to smooth that out, need to fix that, especially when he's in flight, because as you saw, it's a bit buggy. And also, I will introduce the dialogue system to you. We've got the bare bones of that in right now, but it's really bare bones, so I thought I'd save that for Prototype 1.2.